What's up everybody, I'm quickly interrupting ahead of this video. Welcome to the channel of course, but quickly wanted to shout out the Signal group we have, which is a group in which I share all of my trades. For example, also this maker trade that we took over the course of this week. But we also, for example, bought Bitcoin at 101,000, which hopefully it's still trading higher at this point of time, but it went to 107,000. But I also released a new trading guide in which I fully explain one of the main strategies that I use to trade. So not only will you get profitable signals, you're also able to learn how to become a profitable trader yourself. So if you want to join, if that sounds interesting, links will be down in the description. For now, enjoy the video. Bye. Good morning everybody, welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great, hope you're having a great start of the weekend so far, and welcome to this new video. On Bitcoin, we're going to do a full weekend update. I'll be back tomorrow as well, but tomorrow we'll also focus a little bit more on next week. Next week we actually have some major events. With I think the FOMC meeting already on Monday. I kind of want to check that out because it also matters for today. Although, will it really matter that much? I'm not certain, but we'll get into that in a moment. No, it's not Monday. When is it? Is it the 18th maybe? Yes, it's the 18th. Okay, yeah, so Wednesday next week we have the FOMC meeting. That's major, so that means that it doesn't really matter for today yet. I'm not sure why I thought it was on a Monday because... it's almost never on a Monday, but still that's something good to know. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow and Monday as well, because then I think it can have an effect. But the main effect, and that is also one of the things that I want to talk about in this video, in which we'll just do a full update, right, on the markets. Given the fundamentals, I'll try to zoom out a little bit more, because obviously, and that's what I told you yesterday as well, given the fundamental situation right now in the world, a lot is possible, right? And a lot of the price action for Bitcoin is also dependent on what's going to happen with that fundamental situation. So what that means is that on the lower time frames, it's very hard for me to predict what's going to happen, because it just is dependent on things that I have no control over, and that's everything that I would do about that, or that I would say about that, would be speculation, right? Because right now, let's say that it's mainly about the situation between Israel and Iran, and whether that's going to escalate further or not. And at this point of time, I think the market, or at least what the market is pricing in, is that there will be no further escalation. If you take a look at equities, they've not moved up that much. If you take a look at the volatility index yesterday over the course of the day, that did increase, but at some point of time it also stalled, right? And it also found some sort of a resistance. So I would say the market expects that there will be no further major escalation, or at least, right? There might be more attacks, but that there will not be bigger attacks. But if that does happen, which is a possibility, there is certainly still a chance that we drop down lower. And on the lower time frames, that's difficult to predict. On the higher time frames, I can give you a little bit more certainty, at least based on what I think. So we'll zoom out in a moment. At this point of time, I just deleted the drawings, but I'm not sure why. We're just stable in this area right here, between 106,000 and 103.5, which was also the range we were in for the majority of last week, right? So last week until Thursday, and then a little bit Friday, Saturday right here. Which is kind of this tight range right here in the middle of the bigger range between 108,000 and 102.4, and I think especially that bigger range will hold. The tight range right here in the middle, I think that's going to go away, right? Or at least I think that's going to be broken at some point of time. Although I do not think in the weekends it will be broken unless we get some fundamentals, right? So for now, I'd say it's most likely that Bitcoin is going to remain stable within this range right here. And then depending on the development of the fundamentals, we will either see a move back into the top of the range right here, or at least into the value area high at 108,000, potentially also on the top of the range at 109 or 110. Or if we do get an escalation and we get worse fundamentals or some sort of other fundamental event pushing the prices down, I would say we'll drop down into 102. With, depending on the severity of the fundamentals, we could even spike down below 100,000. So I think you need to be aware of that. Now, ultimately, I'm still very positive about Bitcoin on the higher time frames. You can see on the daily time frame right here, we're forming very, very nice stability on top of this level right here around 100,000. I would say for the summer, that's great, right? And what you can see right now as well is that the open interest has actually decreased a fair bit. The open interest right now is at the same levels as it was in the middle of May. That's good to see as well, right? Because the prices are holding up extremely well, while a lot of the leverage is being rinsed out of the prices. So that's absorption, that's great. But ultimately, most summers, Bitcoin has just remained stable, right? So I would say stability is the most likely outcome, at least for the time being. And that short term, like I said, depending on the fundamentals, we can get some deviations outside of that stability to the upside, to the downside. But ultimately, I think the stability will always come back and will hold. So that also means that anything below 100,000, in my opinion, is a buy. And I also have placed buy limits according to that. And at this point of time, unless the fundamentals really change, I would say anything above 110,000 is a sell, is a short. But I would much rather sell spot there than actually short. I think ultimately I'm bullish on the markets on the higher time frames. So I do not think that shorting there, it's at least not something I would do. But those are my thoughts for now. That's what I think you need to know. So if you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. For now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.